Hey crochet besties, so in today's video we will be going over how to make the fairy skirt that I made in my last video. I was going to do a written pattern and sell it, but I figured I'm a lot better at saying what I mean than I am at actually writing a tutorial. So for this you'll need a 4.5mm crochet hook, a 5mm crochet hook, stitch markers, a lot of them, darning needles, scissors, and some elastic thread. The elastic thread you will not use until everything is complete and if you block your project. You will also need at least one, but it depends on how many, how long you want your skirt to be, skeins of any lightweight cotton yarn. I am using Sugar Whale cotton yarn from Hobby Lobby in the color Honey It's Homemade. The other skirt I used was the color Harbor Wish. So for this skirt, you're going to start with the 4.5. I like to use at least I'd say 2 to 3 inches because I like to crochet over them at the very end. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a slip knot and you're going to chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and then you're going to go in this second chain from the hook, so not this one, but this one. You're going to yarn over it first of all, then go into it, and then you're going to do 5 half double crochets across the chains. Alright, that's 4 and 5. Chain 1, and you're going to go into the back loop only. You're not going to go into the loop closest to you. You're going to go into the one that's farthest from you. And you're going to do 5 half double crochets across the row in the back loop. And then you're just going to keep doing that until the waistband is the length you want it to be around your waist. So again, chain 1, and again, back loop is the one that's farthest from you. So go into the back loop, and yeah, just keep doing that until you get however long you want it to be. And the first row of the actual skirt portion will be with your 4.5mm crochet hook, but just get the waistband done and I will show you how to join them together after I finish making my waistband. Alright, so I have got my waistband finished. Let me show you what I mean when I mean you want it to be barely touching. So this is how mine looks, because this is where I want my waistband to sit. This is how mine looks, and as you can see, it's about well, hold on, it's about half an inch away from touching, maybe an inch away from touching. That's how I want mine to be. And the only reason I want mine to be so the only reason I want mine to be that far apart is because I've been losing a lot of weight recently, so I want my waistband to be able to like lose with me kind of deal. My son has decided to be silly right next to me while I'm trying to film. Okay, so now what I did is I took both sides, made sure that it was like not curled up or anything, and then I went into the back loop. Okay, like I said, you go into the back loop and then you go into the chain and you slip stitch, and again go into the back loop, go into the chain. If I could get it, that'd be great. And slip stitch, back loop, chain, yarn over, slip stitch, back loop, chain, yarn over, slip stitch. One more, and hold on, I gotta get it. Back loop, chain, slip stitch. Alright, and once you've got that done, which by the way, y'all can make your waistband like as long as you want it to. I only do 5 because I don't want a very long waistband. But once you do that, you flip the entire thing inside out. Not inside out, right side out. Okay, so you're gonna chain 1, and then what I like to do is I like to crochet over this tail, and I like to do it to where the tail is going to be on the inside once you crochet over it. So you're just going to single crochet around the border, and this is where you're going to need your stitch markers. All of mine are already open and ready for me to use them. I'm going to count to 10 and then put one in. You can count to whatever even number you want. As long as it's an even number, then you got the right idea. Okay, so just go into whatever stitch you can find. It's not going to really be real stitches, it's just going to be like any like loop you can find that you can easily get your hook into. That'll count, and that'll be how you do it. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Sorry, sometimes I get confused, so I have to recount. 9 and 10. So what I do is after I finish the last single crochet, I put a stitch marker in it so that I will know, and I will see you guys when I am done counting all the stitches. And just remember, even stitch count. If you don't land on 10 or whatever stitch count it is, just like count all your stitches up and count all the stitch markers up and times whatever you were counting by the number of stitch markers you have. That will be your total number of stitches for the stitch markers and then add on to it however many you had left. But always try to make sure it's an even number, even if you have to add an extra stitch in there. So I will see you guys when I am finished. I'm gonna add this in before the clip, but y'all are supposed to start using a 5mm crochet hook, not the 4.5, for the actual skirt portion. So since I did that, I'm just gonna go ahead and frog everything that I showed you guys already, and I'm gonna restart in the 5mm. Oops. So yes, before you start to do the actual skirt portion, like even the chain 2, switch to a 5mm. So now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna redo all of that, and I'm gonna put this clip before the actual clip that's in the video. Okay y'all, so I got to the end and I've already slip stitched into the first stitch and chain 2. I ended up having 16 in total. So what you're going to do after you've chained 2, you're going to turn your work inside out, and then you are going to go into this first stitch marker and then do 2 double crochets. Oh, and your first stitch is always going to be a chain 2. Your first stitch right after your chain 2 is always going to be a stitch marker stitch, always. So then you're gonna chain 2 after you've put the 2 double crochets in there, and then you're gonna put 2 more double crochets in, and this creates what I call the hump. I couldn't think of what else to call it. Okay, so now if you have 12, if you counted to 12, if you counted to 8, if you counted to 6, whatever number you counted to, your number between the stitches is going to be different from mine. So if you counted to 12, then your number is going to be 11, which means you need to have 5 stitches on either side of your skip stitch. And by skip stitch, I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So you're going to count to 4. Since I have 10, I only count to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you count to 4, you'll notice that there's 5 more stitches. If you counted to 10 like me, there's 5 more stitches. You're going to skip the one that is right next to the, you're going to skip this one, and you're going to go right into the 6th one. And then you're going to do 3 more after you've done that one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to do another hump. And you're going to keep going with this pattern all the way around. And when you get done, I will show you how to join the round. Alright, y'all. So I have officially gotten to, like, the last peak before... Oh, excuse me. I've been very gassy today. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna do this last peak. And if you do, like, if you count everything correctly, this will be how yours ends up no matter what. So you do it normally, Do 1, 2, 3, damn it. Okay, that just fell, it's fine. 3, 4. Okay, and since you already started this row with a chain 3, or chain 2, I'm so tired. You will skip this stitch, skip this stitch, go into the next one like always, and instead of doing 4, you're going to do 1, 2, 3. And that is how you'll start. Okay, so then you go into not the first chain but the second chain, slip stitch into it, do a double crochet, then double crochet. From now on, you don't turn your work at all. At least I don't. So then you'll do 2 double crochets into the hump, and then 2 chains, and then do 2 more double crochets into the hump. Now, here's the part where you really gotta pay attention, because on the first row you cannot really tell where the dip is unless you're like looking really up close and personal with it. So you count 5. You do 5 after the hump. You do 5. 1, 2. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so after you do these 5, the next 2 stitches, you can see that's where the one you skipped was. So you skip those 2 stitches and you go into the next one, and you just continue that pattern every single time. It'll get to a point where your chain 2 will end up being this, and when it gets to that, just keep like going into the chain 2, chaining 2. You don't have to worry about slip stitching into the next stitch. I don't do that. If you want to do that, you can, but I don't do that. But just in case, I will come back when it gets time to do that part and show you what I do. But yeah, so basically you just keep going with this until you get the desired length of your skirt, and I will come back later. Alright, so I'm getting to the end of the second row, and when you're getting to the end of the second row, you're going to do the same thing as you did in the first row, except this time there'll be less stitches. Hold on, let me show you in just a second. Alright, so you skip these 2 stitches right here, you go into this one, you do a double crochet, you go into the next one and do a double crochet, and then finally in this one you do a slip stitch. Alright, so that is how you do that. And then after this next row, you will end up attaching to this one, like the inside one, every single time. So just go for as long as you want with this same pattern. This is a bit of a yarn eating pattern, so it does like take a lot of yarn to do, but I think it is a totally worth it pattern. I will show you my results after this. Alright, so I'm just going to show you what I meant earlier by after this row. You will be going into the chain. Okay, so you see how they're right next to each other? You're going to go in, and since this will be the chain, these 2 stitches right here will count as the 2 stitches that you'll skip. But after this row, this will like be the chain you skip. It'll technically be the one you're supposed to skip, but I don't like slip stitch into the next one to like go into the next one and keep all the rows even. So this peak will have an extra stitch on one side than it does on the other, and that's fine. That's how the pattern is supposed to be. If you guys, my dog recently got surgery because she broke her leg. If you guys want to slip stitch into the next stitch and then chain 2, you can, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So yeah, you just keep going through like this, and I will meet you back here when I am completely done with the skirt, and I will show you how to weave in your ends and how I like to finish off the project. Okay, besties, so I just got done with the skirt. This is about how much I've got left. So it took me about 2 1/4 of the third, because on the original skirt that I had made with this yarn, I used about 2 1/4. I don't know why I said 2 1/3. It was like 2 1/4. But on the original skirt I used about 2 1/2 skeins of yarn for this skirt, and had a skein and a half left because I had bought 4, thinking that I was going to make, like, the skirt was gonna take 4. It didn't. But this is how it looks. I got to, how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 rows. So that is actually 2 more rows than I did on the skirt that I designed the pattern with. But that's fine. I like how this one is longer. But I'm going to be using the rest of this yarn for like a headscarf kind of deal to like go with the outfit. Alright, so now you're gonna need your scissors and your darning needle. I like to do about, I'd say that's about 5 or 6 inches right there. And then I use my hook to pull that yarn through. Tighten it up as much as you can. And then what you're gonna do is, when you are making yours, I like to go through the front first because it kind of makes the thing even out. See how you can't see it as much? And then just keep weaving in your ends. I weave down and then around until I get back to the color that, now if you're using like a yarn that isn't color changing, you don't have to do it like I am, but I am using a color changing yarn, so I like to do it until I get back to this, which I always put the seam in the back so that no one sees it, especially with how ruffly this skirt is. Okay, now you're gonna have to be very careful when you do this, because this yarn does split apart easily. What I do is I take my darning needle and I go between and I separate like this. Okay, and I take my 2 strands, since this is a lightweight, it's a size 3 yarn, it only has 3 strands, so I take the one that has 2 strands and I weave it through a loop, and then I tie them, but be very careful because the one strand is always going to want to try and break apart. I tighten it as much as I can. I usually do it 3 times. Number 2. Oh, see, that's exactly what I mean. But it's fine, I can do one more time with just this amount. Three. And now that that is done, I will cut this as close to it as possible. And now I will turn this right side out. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Got confused there for a second. Alright, and now that it is turned right side out, I don't have the materials to do the inner like waistband yet, but here's how the purple version of the fairy skirt looks. Alright, I just wanted to show you guys what the Harbor Wish version looks like. When I did mine, I did double crochets on this one, but I learned to do the half double crochet on the actual like finished purple skirt. And then here's the skirt I used as a prototype. This is the original fairy skirt. I used acrylic yarn with this one, so it's a little longer and it stays up a little better without having to do the inside. But now I have 3 different versions of the fairy skirt, and honestly I love all 3 versions equally. I don't love any of them more than I do like another. But yeah, so that is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys were able to follow this pretty easily, and I hope that you guys, if you like it, share it with someone else you know that loves to crochet clothes. Bye guys.